We're going to begin with President Trump threatening new tariffs against one of the U.S.'s biggest trade partners. In a Truth Social post this morning, the president said talks with the European Union are, quote, going nowhere, and recommended a 50% tariff starting on June 1st. The 27-nation bloc is America's second largest trade partner behind China. The escalating global trade war causing more fear and uncertainty on Wall Street today, with the Dow currently down by more than 300 points. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung joins us now with the latest. Brian, we've heard President Trump talk about what he believes are significant trade imbalances with China, with the EU as well. What has sparked this latest round of tariffs?
Yeah, well, I think one thread that's worth pointing out here is that the European Union at one point a few weeks ago had said that if there weren't productive conversations with the United States, that they essentially would have no hesitation in launching another round of retaliatory tariffs. And the president, through most of these tariff wars with other countries around the world, has been pretty clear: if other countries retaliate, the United States will do so as well. So it seems like he's trying to punch back by threatening these 50% tariffs. I think that the language is very important. He is recommending a 50% tariff, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's effective or that it even will happen. But given that he also offered a specific date, he's the president of the United States, you could imagine that his U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, as well as the Commerce Department through Howard Lutnick, would comply with this type of thing. This would impact the many types of imports that the EU brings into the United States, like medicinal pharma products, motor vehicles, aircraft. We buy a lot of Airbus airplanes from them, as well as alcohol. That could be a big one for people that drink European wine. But again, this is a threat of a tariff. We don't know if it'll actually happen.
Okay, so we'll wait to see whether or not some sort of deal, presumably, is reached in the interim that could avoid this. Is that ideally what people are saying could happen?
Yeah, and there's supposedly a phone call later on this afternoon, and you do look at the timing of this particular Truth Social in the lead up to that call, and you wonder if this is just kind of a negotiating tactic, wanting to dangle something in front, of the stick to try to, basically push the conversation along, but we'll have to see.
So talk to us about these tariffs, steeper tariffs for Apple. What does that mean in a business sense? What would it mean for the average consumer?
Yeah, well, I mean, NBC News, reported earlier this week that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, did have a meeting with President Trump. Now you have this announcement from the president that he wants to tariff specifically iPhones at 25%, given that a lot of them are made in India. And this is a very curious type of thing. There are a lot of questions, actually, implementation-wise, over how you tariff a specific item. But again, this is a massive deal for Apple, which imports so many iPhones to the United States. You do wonder if this is also a negotiating tactic. You had Apple that announced that $500 billion investment. Maybe Trump wants another announcement.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.